Sinking lines are one of the most important lines you can have with you whenever you're out on the water. Have you ever wondered how to use one from a float tube? Let me show you how. So why would you want to use a sinking line in the lake? Well, lakes are deep, so there's the first common sense reason. The different sink rates of the line allow you to explore various depths of the lake based on the sink rate of your line and how fast you retrieve the fly. Your leader lengths are shorter as compared to floating line presentations. Generally, the faster the sink rate, the shorter the leader. Therefore, you have less tangles. That's in a single fly situation. Of course, you start adding droppers, you're going to add a little bit of length. You can also troll with a sinking line. You can anchor and cast and retrieve. Gives you lots of different presentation options. You can explore different depths of the water. And the horizontal retrieve path you get with a sinking line mimics the majority of the food sources you're going to imitate whenever you're on the water. So you may be wondering, what sink rate line should I use in any given situation? Well, there's three factors to consider. First of all, water depth. How deep of the water you're going to be fishing. If you're fishing deeper, you're probably going to use a faster sink rate line. The activity level of the fish. If the fish are willing to chase the fly, they're being aggressive, you can use faster retrieves, which allow you to fish a faster sinking line because you won't have the worry of that faster sinking line dragging all your flies down into the bottom and you'll get hung up. And then is your retrieve speed. If you're fishing slower retrieves, you're going to need to fish a slower sinking line, again, so the sink rate of the line doesn't overpower the horizontal retrieve path you're trying to accomplish. When it comes to fishing a sinking line management is critical, arguably the most important aspect. The goal is to keep your fly line above the stripping apron. So use the stripping apron. You can also take a hand towel, dampen it, and lay the line on the moist towel. It'll prohibit the line from tangling. Remember, the faster the sink rate, the skinnier the line, the more tangle prone it is. Only cast what you can manage. Don't have any excess line kicking around because sure as heck, it'll get wrapped around the oars in this case, a pocket zipper, or worse, fall below the apron and get tangled around your legs. And finally, when it comes to hooking and landing a fish, get that fish on the reel as fast as you can. It's all about the line management. We don't want to have any loose line lying around. It's going to get caught around an oar in this case with this cruiser, a zipper, a D-ring, something on your vest, your life jacket, or worse, below your legs, into your legs. Get that fly line onto the reel so you can quickly land that fish, release it, and get back out there again. When you're fishing a sinking line, it's all about knowing the sink rate of your line, using it to your advantage so you can target specific depths and keep your fly there for as long as possible so you can hook as many fish as possible. Sinking lines come in a variety of different sink rates, from slow sinking hovers and intermediates that sink from 1 to 1.5 to 2 inches per second, to your fastest sinking line, which sinks up to 7 inches per second. And then you have sweep lines that have differing densities along their length to have that line sweep through the water column. If you don't know the depth of the water you're fishing, I would recommend using the rule of fives. What does that mean? Simply put, you're going to make a cast, allow it to sink 5 seconds, and make a retrieve. You're going to do that for 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and if you don't get a fish, you're going to increase the sink rate another 5 seconds to 10 seconds and repeat the process. And you're just going to surgically work down through the depths until you either hit bottom. In that case, you would deduct a little bit of sink time, or being an optimist, we hook a fish, then we're going to duplicate that again and again. So if I count down 15 seconds and hook a fish, I'm going to land it. My next cast is going to be 15 seconds because the fish are going to be cruising typically all at the same level. This is what you do when you don't know the depth of the water you're fishing, is use this rule of fives. If you know how deep the water is you're exploring, then you can use the rule of 12s. So what do I mean by the rule of 12s? Well, again, it's about knowing the sink rate of your line and dividing it into the number 12 because there's 12 inches in a foot. So if I'm using a type 3 line that sinks at approximately 3 inches per second, if I divide that into 12, the answer is 4. That means it's going to take that line 4 seconds to sink 1 foot. If I want to go 10 feet down, I multiply that 4 seconds by the depth I want to reach, 10 feet, and I'm going to let that line sink approximately 40 seconds. I say approximately because depending on water temperature, its density varies. What we're doing with this rule of 12s is we are trying to surgically cover different depths of water. And when we hook a fish, we can land that fish, make another presentation, and continue to explore that depth to catch additional fish that may be down there. So let me run you through a basic sinking line cast. I've unhooked the fly from the guide. I've got about a rod length of line out so the rod will load and cast properly. Now I'm going to strip some fly line from the reel. So I'm going to strip it off the reel onto my apron or my damp towel, keeping in mind I'm only going to cast as much sinking line as I believe I comfortably can. So I've got some line stripped off. Now I want to repile the line because the front of the line is on the bottom of this pile, and when I go to shoot the line, it's probably going to tangle. So I'm literally going to bring it up to my rod hand here behind my finger and just quickly strip this line all back in like so. And what this does is it piles the line so that the line closest to the reel is on the bottom and the front of the line is on the top. So when I go to shoot it, it's going to be less prone to tangling. Now I'm just going to make my cast. Again, casting what you comfortably can. We want to manage slack. We do not want to have any slack line laying around the boat. Everything's out. Now we're going to count the line down. 5 seconds if we're using the rule of 5s, or if we know the depth of water, the rule of 12. So I'm going to let it sink down. I'm just going to count that in my head, or you can use your watch. The rod tip is always pointed directly into the water. We want a straight line contact between ourselves and the fly because we're going to be relying on to feel a take. And as soon as we feel a take, we're just going to keep stripping until we pull that fly into the corner of the mouth and the fight is on. So once the line is down, then I'm going to start my retrieve. It could be a hand twist retrieve like this. It could be short strips, long strips. We could even use a roly-poly where we're pulling the line in like this. We're playing around with different retrieves to find out what the fish want. We keep retrieving the line all the way back in, and at the end of the cast, we always want to hang the fly. What does that mean? Well, this line has a hang marker, but with about 10 or 20 feet of line out, we're going to slowly raise the rod up like this. And when we do that, that's going to change the fly's speed and direction and hopefully induce any fish that's following the fly to take it. If there's nothing there, we're just going to pick the rod up again, roll that cast up, shoot it out, and repeat. So that's your basic sinking line cast. So as you can see, a sinking line is an invaluable line to have with you whenever you're fly fishing lakes. You can explore different depths. The horizontal retrieve path matches most of the food sources you're going to imitate on lakes. Your leaders are generally shorter than with floating line presentation, so there's less tangles. Line management is key. Don't forget that. Only cast what you can. Try to keep all of the line above the stripping apron. You never want it to get around your legs and get entangled there. Get the fish on the reel as soon as you catch it. If you know the depth of water you're fishing in, you can use the rule of 12s to surgically explore those depths and find fish. If you're not sure of the depth of water, use the rule of 5s to explore the water that way. Hopefully you enjoyed this tip and found the content valuable. If you want more information on Outcast boats, and in particular the boat we used in this video tip, the Cruiser, don't forget to visit Outcast Boats on the web at outcastboats.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the water.